شام يا شام إن جراحي لا ضفاف لها، فمسحي عن جبين الحزن والتعب. أتيت من رحم الأحزان يا وطن، أتيت من رحم الأحزان يا وطني، أقبل الأرض والأبواب والشهب، حبي هنا وحبيباتي ولدن هنا، فمن يعيد لي العمر الذي ذهب. حبي هنا وحبيباتي ولدن هنا، فمن يعيد لي العمر الذي ذهب. أنا قبيلة عشاق بكاملها، أنا قبيلة عشاق بكاملها، ومن دموعي سقيت البحر والسحب، فكل صفصافة حولتها امرأة، فكل صفصافة حولتها امرأة، وكل مئذنة رصعتها ذهبا، فلا قميص من القمصان ألبسه إلا وجدت على خيطانه عنب.
Universally known as the poet of love who glorified female beauty in poems written in spontaneous and musical language, Nizar Qabbani is one of the greatest poets in the Arab world.
قولي أحبك كي تصير قصائدي مائية وكتابتي تنزيلا.
In addition to his thematic innovation, his poems are rich with internal rhythms, and many of them actually were set to music, mesmerizing the hearts and minds of his Arab readers throughout the Arab world. Nizar Qabbani was born in 1923 in Ma'zint al-Shaham in Damascus, a place perfumed with ancient history.
هنا في هذا البيت ولد نزار قباني، عاش في هذه الجنة التي اعتبرها جنته الحقيقية الأرضية، ووصفها بأجمل ما يصف الشاعر بيته حين قال: هل تعرفون معنى أن يسكن الإنسان في قارورة عطر؟ بيتنا كان تلك القارورة. إنني لا أحاول أن أرسوكم بتشبيه بليغ، ولكن ثقوا أنني بهذا التشبيه لا أظلم قارورة العطر، وإنما أظلم دارنا. 20 صفيحة فل في صحن الدار هي كل ثروة أمي، كل زر فل عندها يساوي صبيا من أولادها. ضمن هذا الحزام الأخضر ولدت وحبوت ونطقت كلماتي الأولى. كان اصطدامي بالجمال قدرا يوميا. كنت إذا تعثرت أتعثر بجناح حمامة، وإذا سقطت أسقط في حضن وردة. كان هذا البيت هو نهاية حدود العالم عندي. كان الصديق والواحة والمصيف والمشتى.
As he was growing up, he studied at the National Scientific College School in 1945. After graduation, Qabbani worked for the Syrian Foreign Ministry, serving as consul or cultural attaché in several international capitals. He continued to work in the diplomatic field until his resignation in 1966. By that time, he had established a publishing house in Beirut, which carried his name. While a student in college, he wrote his first collection of poems entitled The Brunette Told Me, قالت لي سمراء, in 1944. It was a book of love poetry that glorifies beauty and vehemently calls for transcending traditional patriarchal ethics, thus creating a shock inside the conservative society of Damascus. These early poems were marked by an innovative use of daring erotic metaphors and astonishing symbols.
وسينتهي العصر القديم على يدي، وسينتهي العصر القديم على يدي، وأقيم مملكة النساء بديلا.
However, Qabbani showed his poems to the Minister of Education at the time, who was also a friend of his father. The minister expressed deep admiration for the poems and endorsed them by writing the preface to Nizar's first poetry book. When Qabbani was 15, his sister Wisal committed suicide at the age of 25 because she refused to marry a man she did not love. Shocked and heartbroken, Qabbani decided to fight the social evils which he saw as causing her death. He often satirized the conventional concept of love in his society. In an interview, he once said, "Love in the Arab world is like a prisoner, and I want to set it free. I want to free the Arab soul, sense, and body with my poetry. The relationships between men and women in our society are not healthy." He also expressed resentment at male chauvinism and often advocated social freedoms for women. He made women his main theme and inspiration. He earned a reputation for daring to write about delicate issues considered a taboo at the time, especially with the publication in 1954 of his book Childhood of a Breast, whose erotic and romantic themes swerve away from the conservative traditions of Arabic literature. Nizar Qabbani's father, Tawfiq Qabbani, was directly involved in the resistance against the French Mandate of Syria and was imprisoned many times for his views, greatly affecting the upbringing of Nizar, who became a distinguished revolutionary in his own right. His grandfather, Abu Khalil al-Qabbani, was a pioneer dramatist who established in late 19th century a theater group of his own which performed many plays. All in all, Qabbani's family was helping to finance and organize the Syrian national and cultural life during the French Mandate of Syria. Nizar Qabbani was married twice in his life. His first wife was his cousin, Zahra Akbir. Together they had a daughter, Hadba, and a son, Tawfiq. Tawfiq died due to a heart attack when he was 22 years old in Lebanon. His second marriage was to an Iraqi woman named Balqis Arrawi, who is a school teacher whom he met at a poetry reading in Baghdad. She was killed in a bomb attack on the Iraqi embassy in Beirut during the Lebanese Civil War on December 15, 1981. Her death had a severe psychological effect on Qabbani, and he expressed his grief in his famous poem Balqis, blaming the entire Arab world for her death.
هل تعرفون حبيبتي بلقيس؟ هل تعرفون حبيبتي بلقيس؟ فهي أهم ما كتبوه في كتب الغرام. كانت مزيجا رائعا بين القطيفة والرخام.
انهض انهض فإنك حالة ميؤوسة، انهض فلا علم لديك ولا خبر.
Qabbani continued to write poems which are highly controversial and satirical. Among his notable political poems was one entitled, "When Will They Announce the Death of Arabs?" The 1967 Arab defeat influenced his poetry as it marked a qualitative shift in Qabbani's work. The shift occurred in his vision from erotic love poems to poems with overt political themes of resistance. For instance, his poem Marginal Notes on the Book of Defeat 1967 represents a sharp self-criticism of Arab contemporary life.
بعد حزيران 67 بدأ يكتب الشعر الوطني، حتى أنهم قالوا أنه دائما حتى في شعر الوطني كان يدخل المرأة في شعره. مثلا يقول في إحدى قصائده وألقاها على مدرج جامعة دمشق سنة 72 بمهرجان الشعر العاشر: دمشق يا كنز أحلامي ومروحتي، أشكو العروبة أم أشكو لك العربة، أدمت سياط حزيران ظهورهم فأدمنوها وباسوا كف من ضرب.
لماذا نبدأ العتبة؟ حبيبتي أنت حبيبتي أنت، فاستلقي كأغنية على ذراعي ولا تستوضح السبب. أنت النساء جميعا، أنت النساء جميعا، ما من امرأة أحببت بعدك إلا خلتها كذبا.
Yet Qabbani opposed any form of normalization with Israel. He often blamed Arab regimes for not doing enough to liberate Palestine. He wrote many poems which celebrated the Palestinian Intifada and urged the new generations of Palestinian children to embrace a new future. Oh, children of Gaza, do not mind our broadcasts. Do not listen to us. We are the people of cold calculations, of addition, of subtraction. Wage your wars and leave us alone. We are dead with no graves, orphans with no eyes. Children of Gaza, do not refer to our writings. Do not read us. Oh, mad people of Gaza, 1,000 greetings to the mad. The age of political reason has long departed, so teach us madness.
شكرا لحبك فهو.
Qabbani wrote in a language very close to ordinary speech. He used sharp images with satirical penetrating effects, leaving a deep impact in our cultural and literary consciousness. His poems were often read in cafes, parks, office buildings, and on street corners. He was revered for his sensual and romantic verse.
نزار قباني إنسان أكبر من كل كلمة، ورائد من رواد الحداثة الشعرية العربية المعاصرة. أغنى الشعر العربي بلغة فريدة ولغة سهلة ممتنعة دخلت كل بيت من بيوتات الشام، حتى أنه قيل أنها أصبحت كالرغيف في متناول الجميع، والرغيف لا يستطيع أحد أن يستغني عنه، وبالتالي لا نستطيع أن نستغني عن شعر نزار قباني.
His work was featured not only in his 24 volumes of poetry, but irregular contributions to Arabic newspapers. But some of his poems turned into love lyrics, sung by famous singers like Najat al-Saghira, Abd al-Halim Hafiz, and Kazim al-Sahir. Those lyrical poems often celebrated love as an inescapable destiny.
جلست جلست والخوف بعينيها.
She sat with fear in her eyes, contemplating my upturned cup. She said, "Do not be sad, my son. You are destined to fall in love. My son, who sacrifices himself for his beloved, is a martyr."
الحب عليك هو المكتوب يا ولدي. الحب عليك هو المكتوب.
Qabbani was a very popular essayist as well, who was sought after by most influential newspapers and magazines in the Arab world, and his columns gained readers for any paper lucky enough to publish them. People anxiously awaited his criticisms of the recent political developments. He was always rebellious. People saw in his words a guideline that may lead them out of the chaos around them. In 1997, Nizar Qabbani suffered from poor health and briefly recovered from his sickness in late 1997. A few months later, at the age of 75, Nizar Qabbani died in London on April 30th, 1998 of a heart attack. He was mourned all over the Arab world, with special programs highlighting his illustrious literary career. The battle for his life, waged against complications resulting from several heart attacks, lasted 4 months. In his will, which he wrote in his hospital bed in London, Qabbani wished to be buried in Damascus, which he described as the womb that taught me poetry, taught me creativity, and granted me the alphabet of Jasamine.
الشيء المهم بحياة نزار انه هو استطاع انه من هي الحارات اللي هي دمشق القديمة انه يطلع للعالمية. زار مدن كتير، استطاع انه يساوي معادل بين الشيء اللي تعلمه برا وبين الحارات ودمشق. استطاع انه يغوص باعماق المجتمع. الكاركترات والنماذج الانسانيه اللي كانت موجوده بفتره تواجده كانت مهمه جدا، فلذلك نزار قباني هو حاله فنيه استثنائيه. وهي الحاله الفنيه ما بظن بس انه الحاره، هي في قيمه موهبه بداخله هائله، هي اللي خلته انه يكون نزار قباني.
His attachment to the city of Damascus is very strong, and Qabbani often expressed mythical love for the city of Jasamine, being a symbol of everlasting innocence. Damascus is seen as an integral part of the poet's soul.
أنا الدمشقي لو شرحتم جسدي.
I am the Damascene. If you dissect my body, grapes and apples will come out of it. If you open my veins with your knife, you will hear in my blood the voices of those who have departed.
شراييني بمديتكم سمعتم في دمي أصوات من راحوا. زراعة القلب تشفي بعض من عاشوا.
Nizar Qabbani was buried in Damascus 4 days later in Bab al-Saghir. The late President Hafiz al-Assad, who had just 2 months earlier decided to name a major street after Qabbani in Abu Rammana in Damascus, dispatched a plane to carry Qabbani's body back to the city of his birth. Qabbani had asked in his will to be buried in his native land. He said, "I want my body to be transported after my death to Damascus, to be buried there with my people." Qabbani continued in his will, "I want to return home like the bird returning home, and like the baby returning to his mother's bosom. My voice rings out this time from Damascus. It rings out from the house of my mother and father. My voice rings out this time from Damascus. It rings out from the house of my mother and father in Sham. The geography of my body changes. The cells of my blood become green. My alphabet is green in Sham. A new mouth emerges from my mouth. A new voice emerges from my voice. And my fingers become a tribe. I return to Damascus riding a cloud, riding the two most beautiful horses in the world, the horse of passion, the horse of poetry. I return after 60 years to search for my umbilical cord, for the Damascene barber who circumcised me, for the midwife who tossed me in the basin under the bed and received a gold lira from my father. She left our house on that day in March of 1923, her hands stained with the blood of the poem. Qabbani's coffin was covered with the Syrian flag in one of the largest funeral services in Syria's history. A massive number of people gathered in the street in front of Badr Mosque, where the poet's funeral took place. More than 10,000 people walked in the 3-hour funeral procession to Bab Saghir, where he was laid to rest next to his father, mother, sister, and son. The mourners included high-level government officials, Arab writers, members of influential organizations, unionists, artists, and journalists. His death marked the end of a real poetic legend. He was mourned by millions of Arabs all over the world. Major newspapers described him as the greatest love poet in modern times. He was indeed the master of love verse, whose poems proved to be vital to our life as light and air, rain and grass, faith and love.
50 عاما وأجزائي مبعثرة فوق المحيط، وما في الأفق مصباح، تقاذفتني بحار لا ضفاف لها، وطاردتني شياطين وأشباح، أقاتل القبح في شعري وفي أدبي حتى يفتح نوار وقداح.